She said it in front of everyone. "You are only after money, a gold digger." In that moment, the world seemed to collapse around me. Light faded, sounds muted, and all I could feel was the cold weight of humiliation pressing against my chest. Yet, I did not cry, I did not argue, I did not raise my voice. I had learned long ago that some truths are revealed not through words, but through the passage of time. I was born in a city that measured people by their shoes, their brands, and the shimmer of their material possessions before noticing their character, their kindness, or their dreams. My life was simple, a small, modest home with a garden my mother lovingly tended, the smell of her cooking that always felt like warmth, and the persistent pull of ambitions too heavy for my shoulders alone. My mother's prayers followed me everywhere, whispered in my ears whenever I doubted myself. She told me, "Respect is earned through perseverance, and the world will notice your effort, not your connections." I clung to those words, believing them with a childlike faith, even as the city around me screamed otherwise. Love arrived like a storm I didn't know I had invited. He appeared when my confidence in the world was fragile, just after a job interview where rejection had left me raw. He had an expensive car that gleamed in the afternoon sun, a voice that demanded attention, and eyes that carried the arrogance of someone born to be admired. He offered coffee, his smile easy, the kind that could convince even the most cautious to trust for a moment. I accepted. Perhaps that was the first of many lessons disguised as mistakes. Our connection grew slowly, deliberately. Conversations began with laughter, progressed into sharing dreams and fears, and then into habits that felt inseparable. He admired my simplicity, praised my dedication, but always returned to himself, his successes, his wealth, his taste for the finer things. I listened, nodded, smiled. Love, I soon learned, has the power to make one blind to subtle warning signs. He introduced me to expensive restaurants, the kind where servers knew your name after one visit. He always paid, smiling at my hesitation, joking, "You don't need to worry about money as long as I'm here." I smiled back, but the words felt like chains. I never wanted to be anyone's burden. I never wanted my love to be measured in bills and gifts. Slowly, the tone shifted. Questions about my salary, casual remarks about my clothes, and the word he would use with a laugh that gradually turned sharp, "gold digger." At first, it seemed like a joke, a playful tease. Then it became uncomfortable, like a shadow following me in daylight. Finally, it was an accusation, sharp and public. The day he said it aloud in front of everyone remains etched in my memory. "She's only with me for my money." The room fell silent, faces turned, eyes measured, some pitied, others confirmed their suspicions. My heartbeat roared in my ears, but I did not respond. I straightened my back, lifted my bag, and walked out, head held high, silence my shield. That night, I allowed myself tears, not of weakness, but of realization. I wept for the version of myself that had believed in someone else's approval. And I made a decision. Never again would my worth be defined by another's opinion or wealth. From the very next day, I immersed myself in my growth. Late nights became a sanctuary. I worked overtime, learned new skills, explored opportunities I had once dismissed. While the city slept, I battled exhaustion, fueled by determination. My mother's voice echoed in my mind, reminding me of the principle I now lived by. Respect and recognition must be earned, not inherited. Years passed, each bringing lessons disguised as hardships. I switched jobs, embraced challenges, and gradually the ladder of success unfolded beneath my feet. With every promotion, every small victory, I felt my self-belief growing stronger. I was no longer the woman defined by association. I was my own identity, built brick by brick with sweat and persistence. Success, however, is hollow if it only serves oneself. I realized my journey would find meaning only if it touched others. So I established a small charity, just a single room, a handful of volunteers, and one mission: to help without diminishing the dignity of those we served. Slowly, our work expanded. We provided medical assistance, education for children who had never held a book in their hands, and support for women oppressed under society's harsh judgment. Each time I saw hope restored in someone's eyes, I recalled the sting of that accusation. It became fuel, transforming pain into purpose. Time, however, had a way of circling back. One afternoon, a file landed on my desk, a medical emergency. As I read the name, my chest tightened. His family name. My first instinct was disbelief, followed by the creeping weight of memory. Reading further, it became clear. His mother, critically ill, treatment exorbitant, no one to support her. Old wounds reopened. That word, gold digger, echoed in my mind, along with the humiliation of that day. I had full authority to close the file and walk away. No one would question my decision. Yet, I remembered the principles that had guided me, the mission of the charity. Helping without conditions, without prejudice. I sighed, steadied myself, and approved the treatment. The hospital became a place of tense encounters. Days passed, treatments administered, and one afternoon, as I collected reports in a quiet corridor, he appeared. His face, usually confident and proud, now showed fatigue, fear, and the unspoken realization of his past arrogance. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Silence carried the weight of years. "I didn't know," he whispered finally. I stopped him. "This is not about our past. I am here as part of the charity, nothing else." Shame crossed his eyes like a shadow. Perhaps at last he understood that money could carry responsibility, not just indulgence. Days later, the treatment succeeded. His mother recovered. On the day of discharge, he arrived at my office holding an envelope with a hesitant hand. "This is a donation," he said. "I want to ease the weight of my mistake." I returned the envelope. This charity does not measure money, it measures intention. If you wish to help, help someone else who needs it, not me. He left quietly, and I felt no triumph, only a profound sense of completion. Over the years, my charity expanded. Programs for women, children, and families flourished. Recognition came not for fame or wealth, but for the impact made, for lives touched, for dignity restored. And every time someone praised my success, I smiled, remembering the day I was called a gold digger, and the countless nights I spent building not just wealth, but self-worth, compassion, and humanity. In the end, I realized that my greatest victory was not monetary, it was moral. It was the choice to act with empathy, to remain human, to allow pain to shape me but never to harden me. I had not sought revenge, I had chosen the path of integrity. I was never a gold digger, I was digging for my own worth. And that worth now radiates, not in wealth, but in the lives that have been touched, the hope that has been restored, and the humanity I refuse to abandon. I didn't forgive, I simply chose humanity.